好，各位同学，我们今天的第一个小时，我会谈一下循环经济相关的问题跟考量。好，那我这个简报的内容大概会分为两个部分。那第一个是循环经济它在实施上它的风险跟它的机会，还有它的问题考量。首先，我们来看一下它的风险跟机会啊。事实上，你要去实施这个循环经济的时候呢，你需要从几个面向来看啊。第一个当然就是你要赚钱，所以你要从经济面上来看。但是你在推动的时候，其实你会牵扯到你组织的再造、行为的变化啊，那还有外部的政策、外部的法规是不是能够搭配上循环经济，还有技术面上面，我们在整个公司或是内部里面需要做什么样的修正。好，那在循环经济的经济面上面呢，首先事实上我们要知道一件事情，就是现在经济制度并不是为了循环经济的商业活动设计，所以考量因子很多啦啊，像你保险、税收、会计、破坏代价、回报标准、组织认可、报告利润，这个通通都是啦哈。那在技术面上呢，其实更多啊。第一个就是说，你的产品跟服务呢，你要重新设计，你要什么些新的材料、新的应用，或者是现有材料可不可以再替代？那还有就是必须要考量到，就是说，这些变化对更广泛的系统设置有没有什么样的影响？而且要很多不确定性啊。那比方说你使用的一个次要材料呢，你要更新的标准跟规范哦。那我们可以来看一下，我刚刚这个点一下哈，就比方说，我们可分解认证的东西，这个材料它是不是更好？那它的标准规范有没有做好？那我们先看一下一个台湾之光，
不变，但可以被100%完。
脚把它移过来啊。
餐具、背带、杯子、吸管，还有洗澡球，这些会出现在我们生活中，看起来就是塑胶做的东西，其实已经默默完成一项革命。它们的功能不变，但可以被100%完全分解。台湾目前正逐步推动限塑政策，而其实早在这之前的20年，就有厂商投入研发。的生产线来到位在台中的这座工厂，这里正在把 PLA、PBS 等好几样生物可分解高分子原料。
这个是尼安科技的
对客户使用的环境去设计它的物理特性，所以我们在原来那个在砍棒厂的时候，我们就已经针对不同的原料的这一区调整出来，
变成一个个颗粒状，过筛挑选标准 size， 再经过冷却和干燥。
原料来到这个产线之后呢，这个过程就叫做压出。先把它制作成一根长长的管子之后呢，再进行切割，就会变成像这样一根一根的吸管了。不要小看这一小根吸管哦，它可是有无穷大的潜力。看到这旁边一箱箱的哦，它就是即将要送到欧洲来提供食品通路来使用。而在这里呢，光是一条产线，1分钟就可以生产800根的吸管。
这吸管成本比传统塑胶还要贵上2-3倍，连外面的吸管套也都是生物可分解材质。
那外面它可以选择用纸包，也可以用分解膜来包。那通常针对有些国外的客人，他有各种不同的识别颜色，他会希望用透明膜来包。
化工背景出身的总经理黄建明，19年前创立这间科技公司，前面13年都在做赔本生意。
反正不管他赚钱亏本也无所谓，这是纯粹是出自我们对这种产品的喜好，然后能够真的解决这种塑胶不能分解的问题。
要让环保意识无限延伸，他们也做纸杯里的塑胶淋膜。
我们就想到说，那你纸分解的膜还在啊，那怎么办呢？我们就把我们的料把它淋在上面，然后取代 LDPE。
另外也慢慢研发出各种餐具。
在我们这个厂区里面，我们有14部的大型射出机，在左边是我们自己 Minima 自己 design 的射出机，然后右边是日本的机。
目前他们商品有85%外销，而且所有产品都通过重金属和毒性测试，也拿到美国、欧盟、日本和澳洲的国际认证。美国星巴克直接跟他们买原料，苹果总部的员工餐厅则是买他们的餐具，但其实价格还有客户不想用一次就丢，这都成了他们的挑战。
像我们早期在做这种一次性的概念，我们那时候只跟客人 guarantee 1年就会可能它就坏掉不能用，那客人就很不开心，那这样他不能备库存，那就做不大。
现在研发出的餐具耐热94到128度，可以清洗，而且能重复使用2年。进了堆肥厂3个月就可以全部分解。这经历了将近20年的环保革命，走得有点久，但却让今天的限塑政策有了新的出路。TVBS 新闻何江曾慈台中采访报道。
好，我想这个部分就是让各位有这个了解说，哎，原来其实，刚刚提到的技术面这一块，可分解材料呢，它也是另一个方法。那各位同学可能会觉得说，哎，那我这样的东西它没有在循环，没有在利用啊？其实有，像它就进堆肥厂之后就变成堆肥，它就回归大地，它也是一个循环再利用。好，那这里面当然有一些疑虑啦，就是比方说，是不是我们这样的一个生物可分解的一个塑胶是比塑胶好呢？这就是一个风险的部分。那我再给各位看一个，我把它中文弄出来一下。
Obviously not specifically this because it looks like crap. Plastic of the future. Obviously not specifically this because it looks like crap. This, and this. This is supposed to be the plastic of the future. Looks like normal plastic, feels like normal plastic, acts like normal plastic, but is made from plants. It pollutes less than conventional petrol-based plastics, and in some cases is even biodegradable. Perfect, right? Plastic pollution problem solved. Well, it's a bit more complicated than that. Oh, that was bad. So bioplastics, you may have seen them in form of biodegradable plastics, like this coffee capsule or cutlery, but not all bioplastics are biodegradable. Bioplastics are called that because they're bio-based, meaning they derive from biomass like sugarcane, potatoes, or cassava, instead of petroleum. Big companies like Coca-Cola and Danone have already started using bio-PET bottles.
They're functionally identical and indistinguishable from petroleum-based PET. One of these bottles is bio-based, one is petroleum-based, and there's no way I can tell the difference.
Currently, bioplastics only make up about 1% of all plastics, but the market is growing.
The demand far exceeds the entire industry's ability to supply right now.
This is Leah Ford. She works for one of the world's biggest bioplastics manufacturers, NatureWorks. Companies like NatureWorks are growing in large part thanks to consumers like us wanting more eco-friendly products.
And compared to petrochemical-based plastics, it can be 2/3 to 3/4 less carbon per pound at the factory gate.
This can vary depending on how, where, and of what they're made, but in general, bioplastics production emits less greenhouse gases, making them theoretically a more eco-friendly alternative. But more on that later. First, how the hell did this become this? So what you need is regular vinegar, water, potato starch, and glycerol. Let's get cooking. The heat and the vinegar help dissolve the starch. The glycerol, which is an alcohol, makes it easier to mold the mixture. Take a sheet of aluminium foil, and then you're supposed to kind of... I want to make a plastic wrap out of this, and that's why I'm spreading it as thinly as possible. Fun, fun, fun. This needs to be cooled for 24 hours, so I made this batch yesterday. But as you can see, it's just stuck. I'm gonna have to try and peel this off. Ah! Oh my god! Yes! Ta-da! Easy peasy bioplastic. Now this looks like, I know, but it has the properties of a plastic. It's translucent, it's formable. The store-bought ones have more sophisticated production methods. But this is how a potato becomes a plastic. Now, making plastic out of biomass isn't a new idea. One of the earliest man-made plastics was a bioplastic called parksin, known today as celluloid, which derives from cellulose, found in plants. Ford even produced a soybean car, partly made out of, you guessed it, soybean-derived bioplastics. But eventually, petrol-based plastics took over. They were easier to produce and more versatile, and that demand only kept on growing. However, bioplastics are experiencing a comeback, and production is projected to grow significantly in the next years. But let's get into the tricky bit about bioplastics. Just because a plastic is bio-based doesn't necessarily mean it turns back into soil.
The biodegradability comes from the chemistry of the materials. You can produce materials from renewable resources. Either they can be biodegradable or they can be non-degradable, similar to your fossil-based plastics.
This is Ramesh Padamati, a chemist who has studied the biodegradability of plastics. So let's talk about non-biodegradable plastics. Quick and easy chemistry explanation. This is ethylene, derived from petrol, which is formed into a long chain to become polyethylene, or PE. This carbon chain makes it stable and durable, but also really hard to break up, making it non-biodegradable. This is a bio-based material, in this case ethanol and alcohol. You can make the exact same structure, the exact same polyethylene, out of it. The leftover molecules become simple H2O, water. There are many different processes, but this is how a bio-based plastic can be non-biodegradable. Remember the video from the beginning? That was bio-PET, also a non-biodegradable plastic. It acts just like petrol-based plastics, and just like them, can clog up our oceans and accumulate in marine animals. Actually, about 45% of bioplastics produced today are not biodegradable. Okay, so let's talk about the biodegradable plastic. For example, this plastic, which is polylactic acid. It's designed so that it can almost entirely degrade into CO2 and water, similar to other biodegradable plastics. Like this. This is made out of polylactic acid, and it says compostable. Compostable means that it biodegrades in a specific amount of time in a specific condition. With this, it's 3 months in an industrial composting facility.
You need to collect them and you need to send it to composting, then only it will degrade. Okay, if you don't collect and you just think and throw in the environment and let's see whether it will degrade. No, it won't degrade. It will create the same problem of your fossil-based plastics.
These industrial composting facilities, depending on where you live, are few and far between. And many don't even take compostable plastics because they are so hard to distinguish from conventional ones. On top of all of this, the plants that are grown for bioplastics can have a big land, water, and carbon footprint, diverting crops away from food sources and harming the environment with pesticides. Some bioplastics companies are working towards growing and using local sustainable crops or producing plastic from bio-waste instead. But
the consumer doesn't necessarily know where it's produced, what were the inputs, and there are different bioplastics. So it's really hard to dump it on the consumer.
This is Klaus Hubacek. He co-authored a study that looked at the land, water, and carbon footprints of bioplastics.
We found that you couldn't easily replace all the plastic, even just throw away one-time use plastic, because the requirements in terms of land use and water consumption would be so enormous.
They calculated that to replace all plastic packaging with bioplastics, we'd need more than half of the world's corn production. I know, it's sad. It's sad, but it's true. That doesn't mean that using bioplastics never makes sense. There are a few applications where it would be better to switch from petrol-based plastics. Number one being food-related plastics. For example, this tea bag that can contain plastic, these coffee capsules, or food packaging in general.
Because packaging that has food waste inside of it or has touched food waste does not get recycled. So the only and the best way to handle that type of product is through composting.
So replacing all of these conventional plastics with easily biodegradable, for example, home compostable bioplastics could be a good idea. Other examples are foils for agricultural use that can be plowed under the ground, or fishing equipment, which reportedly makes up 10% of all marine litter. But replacing all petrol-based plastics with bioplastics is just not realistic, and to be honest, downright unnecessary. One study estimates 40% of plastic produced is packaging, a lot of which is avoidable.
In detail, there's no silver bullet really to it. The silver bullet is to avoid it, right?
I know it's hard sometimes. I know it's less convenient sometimes. I mess up all the time. Bioplastics can be better than conventional plastics, but it has its costs. It is not the perfect solution. The only way to curb plastic pollution is to use less of it, whether bio-based or not. If you like videos like this, subscribe to our channel. We post videos every Friday.
这个影片解释完之后，让各位对这个技术面有更详细的了解哈。好，下一页啊。那另外还有一个就是说，循环经济在实施的时候，它有没有风险啊？那还有没有什么机会？当有风险机会的时候，我们在政策面、法规面，要怎么去修正啊？那尤其是现在的法规面，通常是基于一个新兴经济的一个背景去制定跟部署啊，所以当你用循环经济的时候，不一定在法规面上是可行的哈。那我想这边我一样是解释给各位来看一下。
全球的主流，更是最近几年政府的施政亮点。国内已经有许多的企业加入，响应环保，也借此促进传统产业转型升级。不过，政府是否建制了完善的大平台，为业者搬开石头，排除法规上的障碍呢？还有哪些困境？我们一起来了解。
那我们这边就是在收这种回收的玻璃，那这种玻璃的话，其实是白色玻璃，其实是价值最高的。
废弃物涅槃重生，新竹的春池玻璃工厂把收回来的废玻璃经过分色、分类、去除杂质，完成清洗，再进行粉碎跟研磨，雪白的细碎玻璃沙晶莹剔透，最后结合工艺创意和巧思，幻化出美丽的第二春。
尝试的去把最后产品的价值做一个提升，让这个循环经济可以继续滚动。
春池在北台湾有5座废弃物处理厂，每年为台湾减少开采约7万吨矽矿，减少碳排放量达16.8万公吨，相当是500座大安森林公园。而废玻璃摇身一变美丽艺术品，还能作为环保建材材料。
玻璃是一个非常好的稳定的无机材料，所以你在烧的时候，它不会有任何的烟雾产生。第二件事情是，它有非常非常好的隔热系数。
电视、手机荧幕的被 LCD 玻璃研发出隔热耐700度高温以上的玻璃轻质节能砖，开始量产，受到国际青睐，成功外销到欧美、东南亚等国家。不只是废玻璃，从国内外收购回来的塑胶废料，像是工业制成中不要的下脚料，或是用过的塑胶瓶罐，全都堆在彰化芳苑宏恩公司的广场里头，推高机24小时附体来回送进工厂，同样进行分色分类、清洗、粉碎的过程。最后一条产线是把裁切最小的废料重制成可重复利用的再生回收塑胶粒。
这个就是我们可以包装出货的产品。
小小再生回收塑胶粒，宏恩接受客制化染色，卖给国际家具、汽车等下游大厂商，制作休闲椅、汽车保险杆和花器等各种产品。但为了达到客户要求，可是伤透脑筋，
多多少少还是有一些味道。
所以这个味道就比较没有办法去一一克服说像新料到无味嘛。当然，在我们现在的技术已经慢慢会去克服。
成立40年的企业，陆续新建20条生产线，年处理塑胶废料从700吨扩增到目前6万吨。看好循环经济绿色商机，2020年还要加码投资，增加产能。
台湾在全世界生产链是最强的。我们说代工大，那如果这个代工可以变成循环经济创新的大国，大概可以甩开在我们后面追得非常紧的其他的竞争者。
不过，企业切入绿色产业、加码投资的同时，国内法规却无法与时俱进，成为最大的绊脚石。
所有的工厂最困难的就是没有地方可以掩埋的这个问题很严重。找到一家业者很成功的把它添加到可以做砖头、可以做消波块，就碰到问题，因为在东海岸，那个县市政府呢的主管单位不许我们跨县市的运送他们所谓的这个废弃物，
盘点这些所谓的废弃物，然后呢辅导这些业者，让他们做一些教育。那其实废弃物的交易平台本身不见得是政府要花钱，它可以变成是一个产业。
结构未来生活，如果像一只蝴蝶般破茧而出，就要鼓动双翼，落实循环经济，不破坏环境，也能发展经济。打造绿色生活，拓展绿金商机。台湾想要迎头赶上，势必要冲一波，才能成为国际的领航者。华视新闻于凡罗哲超专题报道。
好，这边让同学了解到，原来法规面其实还是有蛮多的问题啊。那当然在行为面跟组织面上也是一个问题，就是说，你在这个组织文化的变更啊，如果说你现在是一家原有的公司，你要做成一个循环经济商业模式啊，其实也很难去做到啊，而且组织面里面的组织的管理跟治理安排也是一个障碍。好，那第二个部分我来跟各位谈一下循环经济实施的问题跟考量。好，那第一个我们提到这个问题考量其实有蛮多的一个面向啊，那这个面向里面包含了会计财务是经济面、政策面、法规面、组织面啊。那反托拉斯竞争法会勾到哪几个方面？这个面向大家可以去看一下下啊。好，那我们先看一下反托拉斯法啊。那反托拉斯法就会提到一个所谓的corporation 这个部分啊。那什么叫 corporation？ 就是我们事实上在这个我们在做循环经济的时候，有一个很大的重点，就是我们要做议和。那其中有6个原则，里面就是透过议和可以提高我们的竞争力跟我们的绩效。好，那我们看一下什么叫议和这个简单的定义，让各位了解。这个一个很简单的影片，让各位了解。
口没了。
Uh-oh.
OK 就让各位了解到所谓的避免单打独斗的一个做法。那另外还有一个就是什么叫就竞争法，就是竞争对手之间他可能会做一些价值链的一个干预措施哈。那什么叫价值链呢？我想这边我一样跟各位说明一下哈。
A simple tea bag. Every year, consumers use millions of them. All of Unilever's products, including tea bags, go on a journey before and after they are enjoyed by our consumers. We call this the value chain. It works like this. First, we get the raw materials. Then we make them into a product and deliver it to a shop. Then our consumers buy it, use it, and eventually throw it away. But each step in the value chain also has an impact on the environment. Here at Unilever, we want to reduce that impact and grow our business at the same time. The value chain lets us see where our biggest impacts are, so that we can focus our efforts. So, for example, Unilever's hundreds of factories only add up to 3% of our total greenhouse gas footprint. Around 26% of our impact comes from suppliers when they produce raw materials, and around 68% comes from the millions of consumers when they enjoy our products. So, most of Unilever's impacts aren't our problem, right? Wrong. We want to reduce the impact of our products before they enter and after they have left our factories. We work as a team with our suppliers, customers, and our consumers to reduce the impact of our products. We have ambitious plans to grow our business, but growth at any cost is not an option. We want to work to help consumers enjoy our products and cut the environmental impact at the same time. Every day, thousands of suppliers help us make our products, and 2 billion people use them. The maths is pretty simple. If we get ourselves, each of our suppliers, customers, and consumers to be a little more sustainable, these small actions will add up to a big difference. A really, really big difference.
好，我想各位同学这个价值链的部分，透过这个影片就会知道，就是说循环经济目标你在执行的时候呢，你在价值链想办法去做干预的话，其实可以降低它的碳排放哦。好，那另外还有个什么叫做反托拉斯法跟竞争法，就是说我们在做的时候呢，你要注意到，就是说我们在循环经济上面需要 确保组织对违反竞争法的一个风险意识要建立起来哈。那这是一个重点哈。那什么叫竞争法？其实我们可以简单的去了解一下。
Let's say that you and I are in the business of selling the same kind of pet snakes. Why not? Now, if you sell your snakes at $5, let's say that you and I are in the business of selling the same kind of pet snakes. Why not? Now, if you sell your snakes at $5 and I sell mine at 10, anyone who wants to buy a pet snake would probably get it from you. But if the next day I reduce my price to $4, our customers would probably want to buy from me. And you might see how the story ends. We might bring our prices down until we cannot reduce it further. Let's say to $2 per snake. The customers would be overjoyed. And that's why it is said that market competition is good for society. But by competing with each other, you and I lose out. So we might try doing some naughty things to avoid competing with each other. That's where competition law steps in to deal with the three main types of bad things we could do. First, let's say that we secretly agree to sell our snakes at $20 each. Since there's only two of us in the business, our customers have no choice but to pay that. That's terrible for them, and that's why competition law makes anti-competitive agreements illegal. Second, let's say that we decide to join forces and sell snakes together. So there's only one business now. That means that we can raise our prices however we want, and competition law prevents this by prohibiting mergers with substantially lessened competition. Finally, let's say that I've been selling snakes for years, and it's your first day doing that. But you realize that no one's buying from you because I made all my customers promise to only buy snakes from me. So I have abused my dominant position to prevent you from competing. And competition law makes that illegal too. These form the three main prohibitions in competition law, and that was competition law in 2 minutes.
OK， 我想这样就大家知道什么叫做竞争法啊，大家就知道什么叫竞争法。那另外还有一个化学品的部分哦，就是说我们在做这个循环经济的时候，有一些东西在目前判断是不会产生一些不可接受的一个风险化学成分的时候，那未来它其实也有可能受管制啊，所以在做循环经济其实也会有化学品问题啊，所以我们现在看一下这个简单的简报，让您各
products have value. A sustainable circular economy means that each product's lifespan is as long as possible, and each product has as many lives as is possible through repair and recycling. All products have value. A sustainable circular economy means that each product's lifespan is as long as possible, and each product has as many lives as is possible through repair and recycling. When a product can't be used anymore, the usable material is harvested to return to us in time as new products, restarting the cycle. However, there are several reasons why circular economy is stuttering, chemicals being one of the larger ones. It's the manufacturer's responsibility to ensure the safety of the materials used in production, but finding out the origins and components of waste-based raw materials is expensive and sometimes even impossible if history of the materials in question are not documented. For example, many substances used in fire retardants and surface treatment have been deemed dangerous to both people and the environment. Products are also imported from countries where regulations concerning chemicals do not match European requirements. In order to make circular economy easy and profitable, reusability and recycling should be points to consider already when the product is designed. Materials should be chosen so they don't contain substances that are harmful to humans or the environment. It is important to develop the flow of information so that the components of products are known throughout their life cycle, including the end-of-life stage. Sorting waste at its source is also extremely important. Circular economy makes sense, so long as dangerous chemicals are not recycled into the new products. To find out more info on hazardous substances, See the following
让
links.
各位了解一下哈，就是化学品的部分。那当然，化学品的部分的话，就是要首先你在整个那个 process 里面，你要知道您的产品流程原料的化学成分，而且你也要求你的 supply chain 里面的上游供应商要揭露你的相关的资料、产品成分跟材料化学品。那这个里面呢，也需要去做相关的连结啊。那另外还有一个就是责任跟保险啊。那责任保险这边一个大的问题就是说，基本上在现行经济的时候，卖方的责任只有涵盖初始保固，所以风险转嫁到使用者。就像说你买一台车，你买完车的时候，它初始保固1年，保固之后1年之后呢，很多部分呢，它的风险转到使用者，就是维修，就是到你使用者身上。但是呢，循环经济来讲，它的关系变得更加长久，所以说产品的所有权是属于组织所有，那组织必须要承担您的整个设备的故障修理的维护成本。所以这个部分呢，就要考虑到产品租赁的法律跟保险影响，而且还有一个重点就是使用者通常对自己有的产品会比租来的更小心啊。那所以在这个组织责任上面，你就要去考量到很多很多的面向啊，比方说你要去考量到第一个合约，第二个备品，第三个怎么样可以延长产品寿命啊。那是不是要有额外的资源去履行产品的租赁？那当然来讲，还有就是说，组织的声誉跟风险也很重要啊。那组织在考量的项目的里面呢，因为这个事实上这个循环经济的立法刚起步，所以在责任保险过程当中要有法务去做一个相关的咨询啊，所以这是一个大的问题啦哈。那再来就是讲物流的部分啊。那物流的部分呢，我们可以这样说哈，什么叫物流？就是满足客户的需求，由原料地到消费点之间，所有物品有效率的流动、储存、劳务跟相关资讯的规划、执行跟控制的过程叫物流。那还有一个叫做逆向物流，就reverse logistic in circular economy 的部分。什么叫做逆向物流？就是一样是财货移动的程序，从最终目的地点移到其他地点，获得其他方法无法得到的价值，这个叫逆向物流。就是说我们物流是已经从摇篮到坟墓嘛，但是逆向物流呢不是，它是希望已经到最终目的地，它还可以再使用，叫逆向物流。所以我们这个部分，我们来看一个小段的影片，各位解释一下了解。
Just as life does not stop at your business's door, your business does not stop once your product is sold. You may prefer to not think about the future of your products. You may think it's none of your business. In fact, just as life does not stop at your business's door, your business does not stop once your product is sold. You may prefer to not think about the future of your products. You may think it's none of your business. In fact, you could be ignoring a profitable opportunity, since the resources in the products you sell today can be recovered and recycled into resources for products you will sell tomorrow. One option is to create a reverse logistics system on your own, where you take back the products that you sell to your customers. This may be easier to do if you are operating in a business-to-business operation. If, for example, you provide company offices with homemade apple juice, you could take back the empty bottles rather than letting your customer throw them away. You could formalize this process through a contract or systems like deposits. Once you get the empty bottles back, you just wash them and reintegrate them back into the supply chain. This is a simple case, but if your product is more complex, or if your business is too small to set up a reverse logistics circuit on your own, you can pool resources and have a shared organization that collects and recycles on your behalf. The following example from France is a good one. 6 main manufacturers of mobile homes have joined forces to collect, dismantle, and recycle old homes. This reverse logistics system is financed through an environmental contribution of €100 for each new mobile home sold. Now, whether you apply reverse logistics on your own, or if you partner with similar manufacturers, for certain waste flows, you don't even have a choice. Indeed, there is a principle in Europe known as extended producer responsibility, or EPR, according to which you're responsible for the products you place on the market at the end of their life. This is the case for a growing number of products, including packaging, electric and electronic equipment, batteries, etc. Under these requirements, you have to take back the products you sell yourself, or you have to join an organization which takes care of waste collection and recycling. Last but not least, be it mandatory or voluntary, be it on your own or with others, reverse logistics ensures that recovered resources feed loops that facilitate better supply, as was seen in the first part of the video. If you start including reverse logistics in your operation, your old products don't simply become waste, they become raw materials for a new product. You are now at the heart of a circular economy.
OK， 我想这样大家就对这个逆物流就会比较清楚一点点啊。就说我们怎么样让它在测试、分拣、翻新、回收、再利用等等的部分叫逆向物流。那还有一个就是采购跟合约管理一样哈。过去来讲，大多数的采购流程都是用线性消费跟生产模式来建立哈。那尤其是循环经济这一块，事实上呢，必须要找到供应商或采购商品服务团队过程跟行为做改变，需要更改的合约的部分这个都是一个大的问题啊。那最后一项就是所谓的产品设计跟开发啊。那我们大概可以讲一下下面这一张图啊。这张图啊，我们在这个面向里面啊，我们可以分为设计、制造供应、使用、生命周期结束那这个是一个累积的环境的冲击当然设计上没有什么环境冲击，那大部分的环境冲击是发生在使用阶段跟 end of life 的阶段那我们可以了解到就是说这整个冲击是逐渐增加，但事实上呢，对于影响度来讲的话我们的设计阶段影响到整个环境的冲击，你设计的好，你对环境的冲击面在预期之后可能会减少，越来越少所以呢我们可以看一下就是产品的环境影响在 80% 呢在设计阶段就已经确立了所以事实上一个所谓的永续的设计很重要。那我们看一下这一段不好意思跑掉了这一段影片我们来看一下。
Sustainability was defined by the World Commission on Environment and Development 1987 report.
好，我们看一下。
Sustainability was defined by the World Commission on Environment and Development 1987 report, Our Common Future, also known as the Brundtland Report, as development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency defines it as the ability to achieve continuing economic prosperity while protecting the natural systems of the planet and providing a high quality of life for its people. There are many other definitions applied to specific aspects of social, economic, and environmental activities. Why is sustainability a concern for us at this time? 1. Depletion of finite world resources. 2. Third world development and its associated impacts on ecology and resources. 3. Exponential population growth. 4. Global climate change. 5. Growing inability of environmental sinks to absorb waste and pollution. Let's discuss sustainable buildings. In the United States, according to the Energy Information Agency, or EIA, Commercial Buildings Energy Consumption Survey, CBECS, buildings use about 40% of the total energy we consume and emit about 43% of the carbon dioxide we release. They use about 70% of the nation's electricity consumption. The construction industry comprises almost 5% of the United States gross domestic product. We build about 35,000 new commercial buildings and remodel about the same number every year. Edward Masria, the founder of Architecture 2030, in the 2010 Imperative webcast on February 20, 2007, said, "Our building stock will be composed of 75% new or remodeled buildings in 2030. Clearly, buildings are an important factor in whether we have a sustainable society in the future. We still have an opportunity to influence the design, construction, and operation of these buildings. What is sustainable design? Historically, the issue of sustainability of buildings has not been a major design determinant. Such factors as style and initial cost have been more important to us during most of our past. If we are to begin to construct buildings that are truly sustainable, the process must begin with design. We must educate the designers of our buildings in the science and technique of sustainable architecture. A sustainable building is one that uses the minimum of resources over its lifetime, consistent with the responsible needs of the occupants. How is sustainable design measured? The concept of sustainable building design has evolved as thoughtful architects, engineers, scientists, industry members, and others become aware of the issues. People began to apply their ideas to building design and to publish their designs. Many claims of sustainable design were made, and in some cases the claims were disputed by other thoughtful people. A need for a measuring stick for sustainability became apparent. The earliest rating system was published by the Building Research Establishment in the United Kingdom in 1990. This system is named Building Research Establishment Environmental Assessment Method, BREEAM. It has grown from a checklist into a tool that may be used throughout the life of a building. It has been used in Canada, Australia, and some countries in Europe as a basis for their rating systems. Several countries have collaborated to develop the Green Building Challenge Assessment Framework, or GBCAF, which was originally published in 1998. From this work came a spreadsheet called GB Tool to adapt GBCAF to regional energy and environmental priorities. The intention was to provide an international system that all nations could use to adapt the framework to local conditions. Brazil, Italy, and Korea are using the system to produce their rating tools.
好，让各位彻底去了解这个部分哈。好，那以上我想我大概就是先讲到这里有关这个章节的部分哈。那我们就这个章节到这边，谢谢各位。